Okay, we got Louis Sr., Louis Jr., and Claudio here today, and we're at Currie Enterprises. This is our last rack of rear ends that we're tearing down. Hey, what? Everybody kind of gather around. We're going to talk about Currie Enterprises. I can already tell it's going to be hard. This will be the last full rack teardown.
And how many would you say total have been torn down?
Just over 250,000.
Wow.
Anyways, we're here to commemorate our last rack of rear ends. It's an end of an era for Currie. I'll get it going here in a minute. Anyways, in 1949, 59, my dad established Currie Enterprise to supply tailor-down manufacturing with rear ends for industrial vehicles. Since then, we were figuring it out this morning, we think we tore down greater than 250,000 rear ends, probably closer to 300,000 rear ends. And you know, the guy that tore down the first rack of rear ends is standing right here. This is my dad, Frank Currie. And if you want to add, and then the person that tore down the second rack is right here, and that's my mom. So, and anyway, since then, you know, we've evolved greatly. You know, I'm 48 years old. Charlie's 49. Raymond's 45, and we basically have only worked here. You know, starting since we've been old enough to work. And when we first started working, our job was to tear down rear ends. The 9-inch rear end was introduced from Ford in 1957. And about 10 years after it, came out in cars, they started showing up in wrecking yards about 10 years later. So we started buying our first rear ends in 1967. And so in 1967, let's see, I would have probably been about 12 or 13 years old, to make money. Me and my brothers, my dad gave us, well, he told us if we worked all summer, we'd have enough money to buy a motorcycle. Well, sometimes me and my brothers would work together. We would go together, and we would, if we worked together, we could tear down maybe 4 racks in a day, but we'd have to work together. Or one of us would go out and tear down like 2 racks a day, which was 75 cents a rear end times 24 was like, what was it, $18? If we broke our ass really hard, we could make $18 in a day. Some other people I want to introduce too, they started working for us in the early 70s, I think around 73, is Claudio Melgoza. He's been actually tearing down rear ends here since about 1973. And also Louis. He's also worked here. I'm thinking it's around that same time. Is that right, Louis? About 1973. And they've worked pretty much full-time. They've taken maybe a year off here and there, but they've come back. And we want to kind of honor these guys because they actually stuck with this job. It's not a job. It's, it's a hard job. And we want to kind of honor those guys for kind of staying with it. Actually, I think Claudio is going to retire as soon as we run out of rear ends. He's going to run out of a job, basically, so he's retiring. Currie Enterprises is changing. Probably a good thing, we hope. If anybody else wants to add anything. You guys know most people in here. I'm Sean Currie, Ray Currie, Charles Currie, Frank Currie, and then we got our kids. They've kind of worked here, and we got Cody and Brandon and Casey, which should be easier than this. I don't know why. Oh, you have to speak now. years. So anyways, I know, because I've been on the teardown rack just a little bit. I didn't tear down nearly as many ruins as John or Charlie, because luckily these guys came along before I got old enough to have to tear down ruins. But the one thing I remember more than anything else on the few ruins that I did tear down is we had a tractor that didn't have power steering. And when I was about 11 or 12 years old, it was all I could do when you got the bucket full of rear ends. It was all you could do was turn the steering wheel to get that thing back and lined up in the rack. So, I mean, beyond the heat and the grease and the dirt and everything else, I can fully appreciate that this is the hardest job in this shop, period. Forget about all the other stuff going on. We know that this is the hardest job here, no question about it. And we absolutely appreciate the hard work you guys have done. Mom said she was the first bookkeeper.
Right.
So
Lorraine was the second one.
And I know
doing the payroll since she's about 15 years old. And
come up here.
she's still doing the payroll.
So my mom,
Even before she became my daughter-in-law.
so my mom also used to make deliveries for my dad when he was working. My dad would load the truck the night before. My dad was working full time, and there was also he'd come home at night and tear down rear ends and whatever we did. I mean, it started way before the 9-inch rear end. It actually started with the old Banjo Ford rear ends. Yeah, and then it went to the Plymouth and the Dodge rear ends, and then it finally eventually ended up at the Ford rear end. And that's really our mainstay. For over the years, that's where we, me and my brothers have made our living is only with the Ford 9-inch rear end. We just happen to be, that rear end and hot rodding and all that. It kind of all fit together. So luckily for us, we happened to be standing in the right spot at the right time. What was the price you were paying for rear ends when you were first buying them?
We started at $5 a piece for the old Banjo Ford rear end. Then we switched to. Then we started going to Plymouth, and a lot of the Plymouth bought for $3.50 and $5. But we bought the 9-inch. We bought. No, we paid $5 for a 9-inch and $3 for an 8-inch. Okay, yeah. At one time we didn't use the big bearing, and the guys who say big bearing, we paid $3 for the big bearing. It goes way back. We've been doing this stuff for a long time.
From the time Charlie was 15, that he bought every single rear end. When Charlie turned 16, then we had him out there driving around a 2.5-ton truck, dump truck, picking up rear ends. So.
My wife, Evan and I used to go with Charlie to pick up rear ends when we started.
So my mom used to go with him as well to pick up rear ends. And I know Mom was also the first delivery person because, as I said, they would deliver it. My mom would drive the truck, so it's kind of evolved over the years.
I have a story to interject here. When I was making deliveries, I had to go to Foot Axle in Los Angeles, and this truck was really hard to change gears. Raymond went with me. I don't even know, 8 years, 10 years old.
I know, I remember that.
And I put in on the clutch, and he changed the gear for me. I felt like a little ant on top of an elephant, I tell you.
Well, at this time, I'd like to get everybody together around the teardown rack over here, so we're going to take a picture of the group today.
Down to 3, 1, 2, 3.
Ready.
Couple more.
Say rear end.